Well, welcome everyone and Happy New Year. This is the City Council's first meeting of 2022, and I'm calling it to order Monday, January 3rd, 7 p.m. Due to the Governor's Proclamation 20-28 relating to the COVID-19 emergency and open public meetings, this meeting is being held remotely. And at this point, we'll take a moment to take a roll call of the council members in attendance. Please say here when I call your name. Councilmember DeMichelle.
Here.
Thank you. Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Thank you. Council President Hunt.
Here.
Thank you. And welcome to Councilmember-elect Joe.
Here. Thank you.
Councilmember Mertz.
Here.
Deputy Council President Ray.
Here.
And Councilmember Walsh.
Here.
Welcome, everyone. First item on our agenda this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask if you could all have your microphones muted, but I do welcome you to join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on the agenda this evening is special business. This is ID 0987, and it is the swearing-in ceremony for the oaths of office. Tonight, Judge Stewart has joined us to swear in myself and the 4 council members who were elected in the 2021 general election. Councilmember Chris Ray was elected to council position number 1. Councilmember Barb DeMichelle was elected to council position number 3. Russell Joe is newly elected to council position number 5, and Tola Martz was elected to council position number 7. The clerk will facilitate the physical signing of the oaths of office following tonight's meeting. And for those of you being sworn in tonight, you will have an opportunity following the oath to make comments and introduce any special guests that you have with you here this evening. And Judge Stewart, let's get things rolling. Could you begin by swearing in me, the mayor? Thank you.
Mayor Polly, could you raise your hand? Repeat after me. I, Mary Lou Polly.
I, Mary Lou Polly.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
City of Issaquah Mayor.
City of Issaquah Mayor.
Term expired December 31st, 2025.
Term expiring December 31st, 2025.
Swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
That I will faithfully and impartially.
That I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties of the office as prescribed by law.
Discharge the duty of office as prescribed by law.
And to the best of my abilities.
And to the best of my abilities.
That I will support and maintain.
That I will support and maintain.
The Constitution of the State of Washington.
The Constitution of the State of Washington.
And of the United States of America.
And of the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge. So for everyone that's joining us this evening, never done this before. And while it may feel a little strange to do a swearing-in ceremony by a virtual meeting, I have to say, I feel that this is a really great new thing that we have added. It allows us to invite our friends and family, whether they're in Issaquah or afar, to join us for the event. So being the first one up, I just want to say very, very, very heartfelt thank you to the community that has selected me to serve this wonderful town as the mayor for another 4 years. I spend a lot of my time talking on camera about policy or activities, things that are happening, but tonight I get to talk to the people, many that you may not know, who are the ones that have really enabled me to be here. I can't see all of who is on camera, but I will go through a list of the friends that I invited, friends and family. Starting with friends first, I started my very first campaign in the house of Jiff and Jane Staring. Not only were they on my campaign team, they stood by me every inch of the way. And even went that extra mile knowing that because we were not currently living in a home, that I needed a wardrobe, and was kind enough to give me clothes so that I could do photo shoots, so that I could put material out. I'm as close as I could be to them as I am to family. I love you guys. Thank you for everything that you have done for me. Tonight, I also invited former retired city council member Stacy Goodman. And by retired, I mean 3 days retired. I had the amazing pleasure of working with her for 8 years. And through that time, I learned the difference between the kind of work I was doing on a board and commission and the kind of policy work that is put upon the shoulders of the city council. It's hard. It's really hard. You are in the hot seat a lot of the time. These decisions are not straightforward. They require a lot of discussion. And I learned an innumerable number of things that I hadn't imagined I needed to know to do the job. I have thanked her throughout the last 6 months as much as I could, written letters, written cards, and held special celebrations for her. She has been my mentor and my friend. And I hope that I have her for both still. She's been amazing. Thank you so much, Stacy. I've got some family from Seattle that's come. I'm not sure if I can see them on screen or not, but I'll do a quick check. I have my mother, Kayla, and her partner, Angie, who are in Seattle. And I'm sure their 2 little pups, Koote and Miley, are with them, the newly adopted dogs. My son, Carl, and his wife, Courtney, and my brand new grandbaby, Kai, first grandbaby on my side of the family. Kai's other grandma, Molly, is here, and Kai's Uncle Connor as well. And then because we're doing it by virtual, I am ever at this time to be able to do this in front of family. My dad's wife, Jane from Florida, is joining us. My brother, Jim and Lisa, are joining us from Whistler, and my sister, Ann and Pete, are joining us from Ontario. And last but not least, he's seen me all the time on camera and watches all of my meetings. But the reason I really get to do what I get to do is because of my amazing husband, Carl Polly, who's allowed me to volunteer in service to the Issaquah community for 29 years. Night meetings, weekend work, whatever it is. You don't get to do this unless you have a wonderful person standing behind you, encouraging you, and giving you the freedom to go out and do these jobs. These jobs are so hard. So I'm very glad that you all joined tonight and see me in with the second swearing in of me being mayor of this wonderful city of Issaquah. And thank you for a few moments to speak. Judge Stewart.
Councilmember Ray. I had to find you on my screen. Raise your right hand. You repeat after me. I almost swore you in as a witness on stand.
I would do that too.
You solemnly swear. I, Chris Ray.
I, Chris Ray.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 1.
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 1.
Term expiring December 1st, 2025.
Term expiring December 31st, 2025.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear.
Faithfully and impartially.
That I will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties of this office.
Discharge the duties of this office.
As prescribed by law.
As prescribed by law.
And to the best of my ability.
And to the best of my ability.
That I will support and maintain.
That I will support and maintain.
Constitution of the State of Washington.
Constitution of the State of Washington.
And of the United States of America.
And the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Well, I will take advantage of my my brief moments of open mic, and I will start by saying what an honor it is to be with you all, and what an honor it is to be able to serve the people of Issaquah for another 4 years. I will also say that it is really, really, really hard to follow Mayor Polly in the speaking order on this event. So I will be very brief and just thank you all for all that you have done for me over the last 4 years, and I look forward to serving with you all for the next 4 years.
Councilmember DeMichelle, if you could raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Barbara DeMichelle.
I, Barbara DeMichelle.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
Having been duly elected to the office of.
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 3.
City of Issaquah, Council Position Number 3.
Term expiring December 31st, 2025.
term expiring December 31st, 2025,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties
of this office as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of the State of Washington
the Constitution of the State of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone who is here, and Judge Stewart. I want to say it's an honor to be sworn in by you. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank the voters who supported my election to a full 4-year term. Great experience to work with Mayor Pauley and with my fellow council members, with City Administrator Bobkowitz, City Administrative Leadership, and our fabulous staff members over the past 2 years. Very challenging 2 years, but we still accomplished some very great things, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing our good work. I do have some people here I would very much like to acknowledge. First of all, my son, John D. Michelle. John, you can wave a little bit. It's the 4th time that John has been at one of my swearing-in ceremonies. He's been there every time when I was sworn in as a school board member, and earlier when I was sworn in as a city council member, and tonight as well. And John, couldn't do it without you. And I believe over John's shoulder is my grandson, and Robbie. It's so great to have you. And then I know that my daughter-in-law, Diane Nagasaka, is here, and her camera is working, but I believe my granddaughter, Aiko, is also her. So it's wonderful to have family here. My sister Joanne Rice is here, and this is the wonder of remote. She is in Spokane right now, and I'm really thrilled that she was able to be here because I've shared so much of being in council with her, and this, I think, is the first time she's been able to actually see this in action. So thank you, Joanne, for being here. And then I see my nephew Mark and his wife Nicola Wright, and Mark and Nicola are actually constituents. They live in the South Lake Sammamish area, and it's really, really great to have them here and with us tonight. So I'm glad that nobody had to go through rain, snow, sleet, dark of night to be here to watch the swearing in. So thanks to everybody who has been with me and supported me over the years, and I'm just looking forward to another 4 years of working with everybody. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Joe. Repeat after me. I, Russell Joe,
I, Russell Joe,
having been duly elected to the office of City of Issaquah, position number 5,
City of Issaquah, position number 5,
term expiring December 31st, 2025,
term expiring 31st, 2025,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of this office
the duties of this office
as prescribed by law,
and
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution of the State of Washington
the Constitution of the State of Washington
and of the United States of America.
and of the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I really have the pleasure tonight of being sworn in by a former boss. Judge Stewart was my boss and swore me in as a judge when I was substituting as a pro tem on the bench for the city of Issaquah. So I appreciate you being here, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be to do a different swearing in with you that will help serve the city of Issaquah. I'm replacing a great council member, Stacy Goodman, and I remember the days when I was first on council in the early 2000s, and Stacy was a member of the press. She was a member of the Issaquah press and was attending our meetings at our commission, at our other meetings, and always asked those hard questions, those good questions that were necessary to make sure that the public knew what was going on in our city. Stacy, I'll try to live up to the standard that you set. I don't have any guests tonight. Hopefully my two young children that are 11 and 18 are hard at work on their homework. But I would like to just say that it's a great honor to be elected to position number 5. And I hope to be able to put in the hard work to make sure that we as a are making sound decisions that will help shape the future of Issaquah. I look forward to working with all my fellow members, with Mayor Pauly, and with the administration to make Issaquah a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Councilmember Martz. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Tola Martz. Muted.
I'm sorry, I had a technical challenge. I'm here now.
I, Tola Martz.
I, Tola Martz.
Having been duly elected to the office
of
City of Issaquah Council Position Number 7.
City of Issaquah Council Position Number 7.
Term expiring December 31st, 2025.
Term expiring December 31st, 2025.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties.
That I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties.
Of this office.
Of this office.
As prescribed by law.
As prescribed by law.
And to the best of my ability.
And to the best of my ability.
And that I will support and maintain the Constitution.
That I will support and maintain the Constitution.
Of the State of Washington.
Of the State of Washington.
And of the United States of America.
And of the United States of America.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Stewart. And thank you to the voters of Issaquah for re-electing me this year. I don't actually have any of my family on the call here tonight, but I always feel like up on the dais, and this feeling just grows. And as I enter my 4th term, I feel it very, very strongly. I feel the presence, either literal or metaphoric, of the leaders that I've gotten to work with over the last 12 years. Folks like Mayor Fisinger and former Council President McCary and Fred Butler and Paul Winterstein and yes, Goodman, who is on the call, and all the folks that worked so hard over these last dozen years. They are all either, some of them are no longer with us, but I feel the weight of their expectations and all that they taught me that I hope to pay forward in this new council. 2020 and 2021 were ordinarily hard. And, having been on the council for 12 years, they were much harder than anything that came before it. And 2022 yet be very difficult as well. But I'm really, really looking forward to working with the other 6 council members, with Mayor Pauly, City Administrator Bobkowitz, and with the entire city staff. We have an extraordinary group of elected officials and city employees and public servants in this city, and it's just such a blessing and such a pleasure to work with all of you, and I'm so looking forward to the next 4 years. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Judge Stewart. It's been an interesting time switching over to remote and then hybrid meetings, but I have to say, I love it that the fans could come tonight. I think this was one of the nicest, most heartwarming swearing in ceremonies I've ever seen. I do want to acknowledge that I have one relative who is on the call but unable to be promoted as a panelist. So I have to thank my older sister Kathy and her Bob, who are calling in from snowy Ontario. the artist in the family who the beautiful picture behind me. I put it here so she would see it, but she is unable to be promoted as a panelist. The woes of technology. But Kathy, I love you, and I'm so glad that you came as well. So congratulations, everyone. We start a new year, 2022. This was a really great way to do it. For all those that joined us tonight, this is a regular council meeting. We will take a 1 or 2 minute pause in our business for those that want to get on with their lives and leave the meeting. So feel free to anytime, but thank you all for showing your support of the amazing council members and mayor that you all showed up for tonight. It's really, really impressive and very, very grateful. Okay, moving on into our regular business for tonight, and there is not a lot of it. We will be starting with AB 8300, the election council president and deputy council president for 2022. The council will be electing those this evening. The Issaquah Municipal Code provides that a council president and a deputy council president be elected at the first meeting in January for a 1-year term. A summary of their responsibilities was provided in the agenda bill. The following process will be used to elect the officers. First, I will call for nominations. Then, when all the nominations have been made, I will close the nominations. Council members will then be provided an opportunity to discuss nominees. I will then ask council members to cast votes on the nominees in order that they were nominated by roll call vote. Council members may vote for themselves and may vote for only one nominee. The council member receiving the majority of the votes is declared council president. The process will then be repeated for the deputy council president. We will begin with the nominations for council president. I do have my chat open, so please indicate in the chat and I will call on you as I see it.
Apparently I'm not showing up there, but I am nominating someone.
Thanks, Barb. And thanks for speaking up, because it's hard with the single screen to be able to see if someone's put their hand up. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to nominate Lindsay Walsh as council president.
Thank you. And either by chat or vote, is there anyone else wishing to make a nomination? You will give it a second. Hearing none, the nominations are closed. Is there any discussion of the nominee? Barb, would you like to say a few words?
I certainly would. Thank you so much, Mayor Polly. I am very pleased to nominate Lindsay, Councilmember Walsh, sorry. And I think that first of all, let me say a few words about our outgoing president, who I think has been a superb leader for the council. And I want to thank her for all that she's given. It's a very, very big duty. And I feel that Councilmember Walsh will easily step into those leadership shoes and has demonstrated leadership on subcommittees and through other means on the council. And I am very happy to nominate her to become our next council president.
It's hard without two screens. Thank you very much, Councilmember T. Michelle. Is there anyone else wishing to make comments at this time? Councilmember Walsh.
Thanks. I figure I should probably say something at this point, and thank you, Councilmember Di Michelle, for those words. I too want to thank Council President Hunt for just the great leadership and the whole leadership team, our staff as well. I don't see this as too much of a departure from what we have been experiencing the last few years, because I don't think we need that. I think we as a team of council members work very, very well together, and continuing that I think I'm looking forward to just more interaction between council leadership and council members, asking you guys the questions: what's working, what's not working, what changes can we make, and just taking the lessons that we've learned from City Administrator Bobkowitz with his weekly check-in calls. Just shows the connectivity and the importance of that. I want to do more of that with our council, and I'm sure I'll talk to you guys each more about it, but also just strategic regional representation, so that we can better support ourselves. Even though we do punch above our belt out in the region, I want to do more and make sure that we are advocating for our city positions there. So let's just keep talking about that. I very much appreciate the support, and I look forward to working with everyone in the next year.
Thank you, Councilmember Walsh. Is there anyone else wishing to make a comment? Okay. If there's no further discussion, the council will now vote on whether to elect Councilmember Walsh as the 2022 council president. Clerk, can you please call the roll call vote?
Yes, starting with Councilmember DiMichele.
Sorry, aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunt.
Aye.
Councilmember Joe.
Aye.
Councilmember Martz.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you very much, City Clerk. That is unanimous. And congratulations, Council President Walsh. We will now move on to nominations for Deputy Council President, and I will look into the chat. Are there any nominations for the position of Deputy Council President? Councilmember DiMichele?
Thank you, Mayor Pauly. I am very happy to nominate Councilmember Hall for Deputy Council President.
Thank you. Keeping my eye on the chat, are there any other nominations for Deputy Council President? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. Councilmember DiMichele, would you like to have any comments?
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, again, thank you so much to Chris Ray for his time as our Deputy Council President. As Councilmember Martz noted, during probably 2 of the toughest years in Issaquah's history. So thank you so much for your time there, Chris, and for your leadership. I'm very happy to nominate Councilmember Hall. I believe he was the youngest person to be elected to the City Council. I'm sure he is now the youngest person to ever be nominated for Deputy Council President. And I think it speaks very well to his leadership skills that he is ready to assume that position. And I know that we have a great team with Councilmember Walsh and Councilmember Hall in charge. So very happy to nominate Councilmember Hall.
Thank you, Councilmember DiMichele. Any other comments? Looking at the chat and not seeing any. And I lost my place. Here we go. If there's no further discussion, the council will not now vote on whether or not to elect Councilmember Hall as the 2022 Deputy Council President. And Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Yes, starting with Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
Councilmember Hunt.
Aye.
Councilmember Joe.
Aye.
Councilmember Martz.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh.
Aye.
Councilmember DiMichele.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, Deputy Council President Hall. Congratulations. You have been elected unanimously. So thank you both. It's going to be an exciting year, no doubt. As people have already said, it's been a tough 2 years, but I think even 2022 is going to be a bit of a strange one. So welcome. Glad to have you in leadership. The next item on our agenda this evening is audience comments. And for those of you who submitted the online form to make your comments, we'll call your name shortly. For those of you who have joined us tonight and would like to make comments but did not sign up in advance, you can raise your virtual hand. If you're on a phone, press *3. If you've joined by a computer or smartphone, look for a hand icon, and this can vary by device. And one option may be to go to the participant panel and choose the raise hand icon in the lower right-hand corner. City Clerk, has anyone signed up to speak for general audience comments or indicated a desire to speak this evening?
Mayor, no one signed up in advance, and I'm just monitoring the attendee list for just a moment here, see if I see any raised hands. I don't see anyone indicating a desire to speak.
Thank you very much, City Clerk. Just as a reminder, if folks do have comments, you can always write them and submit them at any time to citycouncil@issaquahwa.gov. The next item on our agenda this evening is committee and regional reports, and there has not been an awful lot going on through December, so this may not be a particularly long item. And let's start first with Councilmember Joe.
No report. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Council President Hall.
That's going to take some getting used to.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor Pauly. This is Deputy Council President Hall. Just a couple quick ones. First, Councilmember Goodman and I attended an Eastside Fire and Rescue Board meeting on Thursday, December 9th at 4 p.m. A couple things of interest I wanted to report back. First, Chief Clark announced that Eastside Fire and Rescue, or EFR, had extended conditional offers of employment to 25 applicants. So we'll have some new firefighters joining the EFR family, which is good news. A heads up to the council that a new wildfire prevention program proposal is making its way to an upcoming EFR board meeting. We're all really looking forward to this presentation, and Councilmember Ray and I will be sure to share those details with you at a future council meeting. And then finally, there were lots of thanks and gratitude shared by many for Councilmember Goodman's many years of service to both the City of Issaquah and the Eastside Fire and Rescue Organization. And then just a few announcements. The next Eastside Fire and Rescue Board meeting is scheduled for next Thursday, January 13th at 4 p.m. And the next Cascade Water Alliance Board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 26th at 3:30 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilmember DiMichele.
Thank you, Mayor Pauly. On December 10th, I attended the Eastside Transportation Partnership. Chair Jay Arnold and co-chair Janice Zahn requested signatures on a letter supporting completion of the I-405 SR 167 project. After review by Shelley Helder to ensure compatibility with our legislative agenda, Mayor Pauly signed the letter. However, it is still in process. I checked with Shelley today, and it's still in process. So the council will see a copy of that as soon as it is ready to be transmitted by the group. We also received a presentation on Metro policy updates and PSRC project evaluation process. Then on December 10th and 17th, I attended the Eastside Human Services Forum, December meeting and annual meeting, respectively. The forum legislative agenda was adopted by the board. The annual meeting featured an excellent discussion by 4 Eastside social service agencies regarding the challenges they faced during the past 2 years. Recruiting and retaining staff was by far the greatest challenge reported by the speakers. Also, I was elected Secretary Treasurer of Eastside Human Services Forum, so you'll be hearing more about that later. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember DiMichele. Council President Walsh.
Thank you. I have a very short report. In December, the Issaquah Chamber of Commerce meeting was canceled for the holidays. The next meeting is scheduled for Friday, the 21st. And at the end of last year, I was also appointed to the King County Affordable Housing Committee. That meeting schedule hasn't been set yet, though they're scheduling something for January, February to do somewhat of a retreat style to pull together some of the ideas of the new members. But I will report back on that once that gets scheduled and set. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Council President. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The King Conservation District Advisory Committee met on December 14th. And we did not have any items that we took action on, but we did receive a financial update about the King Conservation District's budget reserves and financial statements, and gave feedback on their annual report, which is one of the deliverables of this group or this agency. And I also wanted to let you all know, and anybody viewing know, that the King Conservation District will have an election. In the past, the King Conservation District has had very low turnout for their elections because they have them at a time when there's not other elections going on, and they're also all online. So this is something that they are trying to raise awareness of and try to have more people know that there's an election happening. Ballots will be available to eligible voters online from January 18th to February 8th. And you can also do paper ballots as well, but they mostly do online. And then I also just wanted to let anybody know that that would be interested in voting in this, that the King Conservation District is a special purpose district committed to helping people engage in stewardship and conservation of natural resources, serving over 2 million people in 34 cities and unincorporated King County. And it is funded primarily by a per parcel assessment fee. So this is something that is an important agency in our county, and they do hold elections. So you can look up more information at their website. And the next meeting of the King Conservation District will be February 8th. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Hutt. Councilmember Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Polly. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is Councilmember Martz. The Puget Sound Regional Council Growth Management Policy Board will be meeting this Thursday, January 6th from 10 until 11:30 a.m. It is expected to be a hybrid meeting. It may be partially on site. It may be partially remote. They're actually still sort of figuring that out with everything that's going on with Omicron. The agenda includes the 2022 legislative overview, an industrial lands analysis update, draft supplemental biennial budget and work program for fiscal years 22-23, and then a review of the year's GMPB calendar. The Sound Cities Association Public Issues Committee is going to be meeting on Wednesday, January 12th from 7 to 9. We continue to be online. The highlights will include a PIC 101 orientation for new PIC members, and then a review of the 2022 FCA legislative agenda. It'll include potential action on that legislative agenda. It's drafted to reflect legislative priorities found in city agendas across the FCA membership. Draft FCA legislative priorities were reviewed December 8th. PIC members provided feedback, which was incorporated into revised draft legislative agenda. I will be sending that out, and if there's any feedback from my fellow council members, I don't expect this to be a contentious item. It has not been in the past. It's all been stuff that we've said was important to us and that is reflected in our legislative agenda. And I know the mayor sits on the FCA board, and she's involved in that process as well. So, but if there should be anything in there that anybody has any questions or concerns about, please do let me know. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Martz. Next up is the mayor's report. There will be no executive session scheduled for this evening. I wanted to talk a little bit about recent weather-related events. So a big thank you to our staff and partner agencies for their efforts over the past week in response to various weather-related events. Emergency management, communications, public works, police, parks and community services, Eastside Fire and Rescue, and King County Emergency Management. Thank you for your work and your outstanding service to our community. There were also some cold weather human services provided during the last couple of weeks. In response to the severe weather we experienced over the last couple of weeks, our human services divisions, Parks and Recreations and Parks Operations divisions, in collaboration with the City Emergency Services, worked on supporting the most vulnerable members of our community with securing temporary housing and basic needs and resources. 20 community members experiencing homelessness were housed for 12 days at Motel 6. 2 more days were extended today to allow for temperatures to increase and for a smooth transition. Other community members were transported to nearby emergency shelters as capacity allowed. Warm meals were provided by the Community Meals Program on weekends and the Issaquah Meals Program on weekdays. And the Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank and community volunteers also provided food to help supplement the need whenever possible. We would like to thank the dedicated community providers who tirelessly provided meals and food despite the cold temperatures and heavy snow. In particular, Marilyn Audiger and Kiran Shah from the Weekend Community Meals Program, Griffin Cole, Adria Briel, David Trax, and Gary Schoenlein from the Issaquah Meals Program, Catholic Community Services, and Dwayne and Angelique Cadwallader from the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Issaquah and Renton, and staff from the Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank. A day warming center was also open between December 26th and December 31st at the Issaquah Senior Center. My appreciation to the dedicated staff who worked very hard to make all this happen. A note on our 2020 annual audit. The Washington State Auditor's Office recently presented the results of the city's 2020 financial statement, single and accountability audits during an exit conference which included myself, City Administrator Wally Bobkowitz, and City Council President Victoria Hunt. Overall, the audits were extremely positive and reflect the great work of our finance team to responsibly steward public funds. While the city received one audit finding related to its financial statement, it is important to note that the State Auditor's Office found no evidence of malfeasance or loss of funds. Rather, the finding was related to a single complex land transaction with Gateway, now named Anthology developer, in 2020. The Auditor's Office found the city incorrectly recorded the 2020 land purchase by netting it against revenues rather than reporting it as a capital expenditure in the fund financial statements. The city has modified its 2020 financial statements to reflect the audit finding, and this reporting variation did not impact the city's overall fund balance. The full audit reports are on our website at issaquahwa.gov/financial reports. I'm going to talk a few minutes about retail theft as well. This is a topic that has come up a couple of times at council, and I want to provide an update. We are working with multiple retailers in the city to address increased retail crime. In these conversations, the police department has offered information on what is necessary to press charges and has offered other solutions to address the issues. This month, we will be bringing together retail asset protection staff with the police to discuss tips and to share trends. At the next council meeting, the administration will present changes to our code to require shopping cart retrieval plans from the stores, as well as stronger language in our business license section to take action if business actions are causing a nuisance. My message to retailers is that we want to be a partner in this effort, and I expect this partnership to be two-way. We encourage all retailers to call 911 to report shoplifting. And for every resident and visitor shopping in our city, please do not attempt to take action yourself, but instead contact 911 if you witness a crime. Together, I believe we can solve this problem. There was a recent landmark designation in Issaquah of the Koote's Garage building. The Koote's Garage is located at 35 West Sunset Way, and it has been designated a historical landmark by the Issaquah Landmarks Commission. The building held an important commercial and service role in Issaquah's early automobile era. It has a strong association with early networks of regional transportation and the rise in automobile use, infrastructure, and community development in Issaquah. I'm going to give a little update on the Capital Finance Community Task Force. The Capital Community Finance The Capital Finance Community Task Force last met on December 7th to discuss infrastructure priorities across Issaquah's needs in transportation, parks and trails, and facilities. The task force will continue to develop its recommendations for council on the priorities at the next meeting tomorrow, January 4th at 6 p.m. And there are a couple of upcoming community events. Vaccine booster clinic appointment times are available. The City of Issaquah and Costco are partnering to offer a COVID-19 vaccine booster dose clinic at the Issaquah Community Center on January 6th and 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Spots are limited, and for more information and to register, please visit the city website. Due to the increase in cases from new variants, City Hall in-person services have been temporarily suspended. In-person services are anticipated to reopen on January 18th with a Tuesday-Thursday schedule of 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. City Administrator Bob Kowitz will now provide an update regarding pandemic impacts on city services. Administrator Bob Kowitz.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Good evening and Happy New Year. Before I start, I want to echo Mayor Pauly's comments regarding the work our city staff has done during the holidays. I think it all hoped that the 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's time frame were going to be an opportunity for people to rest and recharge. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for many, many of our city staff. Our public works crews, as the mayor mentioned, working 12-hour shifts, our human services staff working very diligently to take care of those in need. So I really want to add my thanks to Mayor Pauly's to, the dozens of our staff members who, instead of spending the holidays with their families, were out there helping our community in the midst of yet another spike in COVID cases here in Issaquah and around the country. That's really the point of my comments this evening, are where we stand with the Omicron variant and what we can expect to see as far as community services and potential impacts to community services. The variant is here in Issaquah. We are seeing employees come down with the COVID-19 virus in numbers we have not seen in the nearly 2 years that we have been working through these challenges. We have employees currently off in our police, public works, and Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department. Fortunately, everyone is doing well, but the impact to the city's work and the city staff is the people are not here able to help the work that we do. Our police department, I think, has been challenged previously. The work that Acting Chief Paul Schwan is doing is absolutely extraordinary. She's working very diligently to bring on board people. We had 2 lateral police officers start today. We are hiring dispatchers. We're doing everything we need to do to bring staffing up at the police department. The challenge now is COVID and the impacts it is having not only in our patrol, but in our jail, our records, and our dispatch operations. Chief Swan believes that the staff that we have working overtime will be able to keep our minimum staffing. But I want to give you, the city council, and the community a warning that this is a day-by-day thing. We are working very hard to manage as people are off for what's now 5 days if they've come down with the COVID-19 virus. So it's going to continue to be a work in progress, and we are committed to keeping the community safe, but it's a very tall order given what's going on with COVID. The same is true with our public works field operations. Certainly they've come off of 2 weeks of very heavy weather-related issues. Hopefully they're resting. We're repairing equipment, but we're also trying to be vigilant with COVID, encouraging folks to come to work at different times, not have folks congregate, improve the masks that people are wearing. So hopefully, again, with the next batch of snow that we may see as soon as this week, we'll be able to have people out there plowing the streets and taking care of the community. Our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services staff continue to monitor things. But so far, we've been able to keep facilities open. Again, I would warn you, the council and the community, that that's going to likely be a very day-to-day thing over the next couple of weeks. And so we encourage people to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, sign up for our e-news alerts, and we'll continue to keep people updated. Within our Parks, Rec, Community Services Department is our Human Services team, and they are exhausted. They have worked nearly every day through the holidays, taking care of people. People are still in need of care. The challenge is the available shelters, emergency shelters are full. They're experiencing COVID. And so we are having difficulty finding places for people to stay who are homeless. So as community members may see homeless individuals on the street, they may see the occasional tent, know that we see them too, know that we are reaching out and working with individuals who have needs. But the real challenge right now is emergency shelter and being able to take advantage of the limited spots there. And that's going to continue certainly for the foreseeable future. Our community planning and development department are inspectors, so we're trying to keep them safe as they work in the community, and thank Director Minnie Dollywall and her team for that. And then finally, Eastside Fire and Rescue, another important part of the public service team here in Issaquah. They too are seeing certainly significant numbers of their members come down with COVID, and so they are having to work very diligently to make sure that they have staffing. But rest assured from Fire Chief Clark that we don't anticipate any significant issues, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to make sure that we continue to keep Issaquah residents safe with all of the municipal services. So, Madam Mayor, members of the council, I'm sorry, it was a very joyous evening this evening to come with some less joyous news, but I think it's important for you, members of the council and the community, to know that you have a very dedicated team of city staff members, folks who work at EFER, certainly our partners at King County, at the library. Everyone is working hard to make sure that the municipal services can be provided. But the reality is, it's a day-to-day thing that we're seeing numbers of COVID cases, not only in King County, but throughout the world at record numbers. And so we just ask for your patience. We ask for our community members' patience. Know that we're doing everything in our power to provide quality municipal services. But the reality is, if people are homesick, we want them to stay home, get better before they come back to work. So, Madam Mayor, thank you for letting me take some time this evening to, again, deliver perhaps not such pleasant news, but certainly be happy to answer any questions that members of the council may have.
Thank you, City Administrator. I'll keep my eye on the chat to see maybe at Good to the Order, they may have some others as well. But thank you for that very thorough summary. I think you accurately portrayed our plan and what we are planning for and how difficult it may be. So fingers crossed that our predictions don't come true. But thank you very much for that. The next item on the agenda this evening is the consent calendar, and it was distributed to council in advance. If authorized, the items on the consent calendar will be considered together and approved by one motion. Have the payables and payroll been reviewed?
They have.
They have.
Thank you. Does any council member desire to remove any item from the consent calendar and consider it under regular business? And if so, could you please indicate it in the chat? Not seeing any notes. Is there someone prepared to make a motion? Council President Walsh?
I have to say I have not received the motion in the chat. Is it just I moved
move to approve the consent calendar would work.
Okay, I move to approve the consent calendar.
Council Member Hall, Deputy Council President Hall?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. And City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Yes, starting with Councilmember Hunt.
Aye.
Councilmember Joe.
Aye.
Councilmember Martz.
Aye.
Councilmember Ray.
Aye.
Councilmember Walsh.
Aye.
Councilmember DiMichele.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Thank you, City Clerk. That passes unanimously. The next item of business is regular business, but we have no items this evening listed, so we'll move to good of the order, and I will keep my eye on the chat. I know at least Councilmember Martz has one thing that he would like to share with everyone. The upcoming City Council meetings are January 11th. There is a City Council study session, and the potential agenda items include the Human Services Strategic Plan Update, Recreation Scholarship Program, and the City Council retreat planning. Tuesday, January 18th, we have a regular meeting, and I'll make a note that is a Tuesday. Monday is a holiday. The potential agenda items include State Route 18 widening, Issaquah Hobart Road to Raging River, and abandoning shopping cart regulation update, which is something that I had mentioned in my mayor's report. And I will go back to Councilmember Marks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to point out that the Sound Cities Association is having its regional board and committee appointee orientation this Wednesday. It's kind of at a atypical time. It's going to be 3:30 to 5. You all should have received an invitation to register for it. If you've registered, you should get a link from Leah that allows you to participate. This SCA does consider this mandatory as part of representing SCA on boards and commissions. So although most of you, like me, this is not your first rodeo representing SCA regionally, it is an opportunity to gather and understand it. Honestly, doing this for 11 years, this will be the 12th year representing regionally. I always learn something at these meetings, and so it's always a good use of time. So please do register. Thank you.
Well said, Councilmember Martz. Thank you. Not seeing anything else for good of the order. There is no executive section this evening, and there being no further business, the meeting. Oh, I have another good of the order. Let's go to Councilmember Walsh.
Thank you. I just realized I should probably ask, as we will be doing some shuffling of local committees and things like that, including Eastside Fire and Rescue, Issaquah Chamber of Commerce, LTAC, the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. If you have any interest in serving those, if you would send me an email or a text, something that we can start a conversation about that. I'm not quite sure what our timeline is for making those appointments, but it is something I would love to gather some interest if there is any. Thank you.
So Council President Walsh, I'll just add on to that. We do have a matrix that the city clerk can spread or distribute by email, allowing people to put their first, second, and third choices on it for you and submit it to you. I'm just looking at Clerk Deisure. Is that something that could go out this week?
Yes, Mayor. I was planning to get that sent out by Wednesday of this week.
Perfect.
And then request responses by January 10th.
Does that work for you, Council President? Great. And Councilmember DiMichele.
I just need to jump in. I realized when Council President Walsh was speaking, Eastside Transportation Partnership, we actually are eligible for 2 representatives on that group. And I've been serving on that for the past year. We certainly would welcome a second representative because we are eligible for that. So if someone would want to consider that as a position as well, be sure and let Council President Walsh know.
Sure, that's a great suggestion. We can add it to the spreadsheet as position 1 and 2, if that would help. That's great. And if folks think of other ones that ought to be on the sheet that we normally just toss around, let's get it all in one place to make it easier for our council leadership. That would be great. So thank you for that suggestion. So there is no executive session tonight, and there being no further business, no more good of the order. Councilmember Hall, Deputy Council President, is pointing at something.
I'm sorry, Mayor Polly. Didn't Councilmember Martz have something for go to the order, or did I hear that wrong?
He did. Was there something more, Councilmember Martz? Sorry if I missed you.
No, that's the SCA orientation was the item that I had. But thank you, Deputy Council President.
Better safe than sorry. No worries.
I love having a second set of eyes on the chat. For any of you that runs meetings, you know how hard it is to read a script, look at faces, and go through the chat. So thank you, Deputy Council President Hall. There being no further business then, we're adjourning our meeting, our first meeting of 2022 at 8:02 p.m. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Take care.